Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're actually driving around in the golf cart looking at some of the work that's happened in the last few days. And that is a massive burn pile. The camera is not going to do it justice. I've got another one over there.
Can I just tell you guys, some people you guys call and ask, what are you guys doing? I don't even know how to describe everything that goes on. It's like literally a 3-ring circus some days.
It is pretty wild.
Anyway.
We're actually driving under the new pole barn right now.
Oh, this is amazing.
When I get out from under it, you'll be able to see it a little better. That's the camper shed.
She has a new home.
She is a new home, and I have not put the tin on top of the pole barn yet, but it is on top of the camper.
So we're going to come out, stop a second, because I want people to see this. This is really cool. So we built a camper shed, and then he came off the side of it, and we're going to use that to store like various equipment and stuff like that. So we're utilizing space. Everything Chris and I look at, and you guys look at this also on your property, everything is real estate. Everything is space. Everything is of value. And so we try to utilize it to the best. Yeah. So this is what we've been doing.
I have used the sheds and things that I have built like every day. It's like I don't know how I would do it without the stuff. You know, we had a project that needed a massive paint booth, so I had to take one of my main shed in the back, maybe I'll drive you back there, and turn it into a huge paint booth with rolling doors to paint big tanks and stuff. And this is how we choose to invest in our future. It's not just about precious metals. We are going to get into the precious metals prices that have been falling, and I'd like to talk a little bit about
well, you see all this land being cleared. That's what we recently invested some of our assets in. We took some of our funds.
Let me go over there. That's the big pole barn with rolling doors. That used to be my shed. But now I have to build another one. I don't like my stuff in the weather. But what were you saying?
It's just so much going on. Anyway, but Chris, we were talking today earlier about what's going on with precious metals and how, so we've been asked a lot about how do you invest? What do you invest in? In different things? And so I was telling Chris, we're talking about banks today, precious metals, what's going on. And I was telling him some stuff that I've recently come across. People have called and told me, including the person that tried to get the wire transfer. And so, or the wire transfer. So we just thought we'd jump on here. We haven't been on here in a while. We've been busy. Matter of fact is, Chris wakes up Thursday morning last week and he's on a plane, which he's going to do a video about soon. And he's flying to Illinois. And he gets home at Friday morning at 1 o'clock a.m. with a new piece of equipment, which I cannot wait to tell you guys about, which is another side hustle we're going to do. But let's talk about banks and precious metals and kind of what's going on with, and you guys, I tell you, we say this all the time, but if the money is in the bank, it's not yours. And I'm seeing this more and more where they're holding on to funds. They're not releasing funds for wire transfers. The ACHs, they're also holding it a little bit longer instead of just immediately sending it to the next bank because it's an automatic clearinghouse that they speak bank to bank. So we were talking about that a little bit, how it seems to be they're holding on to your funds more and they're trying to get you incentives to get you in the door to give you their funds.
Right, and guys, this isn't doom and gloom news.
No, this is to prepare.
I don't want to sell fear. This is just like facts.
Yep.
And this is people that we know that are trying to move their money or their currency into precious metals, which is real money, and the bank is giving them a lot of crap about it. It's like, wait a minute, you know, the cart's before the horse here. So I just want to say this is real stuff that's happening. This isn't me trying to sell fear.
No, it's not. And be honest with you, Chris and I were talking about that. That's not what we want to talk about. But we want to say this is what's happening and here's solutions. So a couple of calls I've gotten in the last couple of weeks of where people are struggling to get their money out of the banks for various reasons. I've asked permission to talk about some of the stories. Some of them they don't want me to disclose, and that's fine. But one of them actually said, yes, you can tell what happened. They said, if it will help someone, please do it. Two things. One, if you are, they said a lot of these money market investors and different things like that, if you go and you say, hey, I want to pull my funds out, they said the worst thing that you can say is tell them that you want to do it to invest in precious metals. They said they will freeze up in a heartbeat and they will literally interrogate you. And they said, do not say, I guess, basically what you're wanting to do your funds with. The second thing was a couple people have gone to do wire transfers lately and they have been denied. And the key thing was they mentioned precious metals, including specifically a lady the other day, her son took her in and she wanted to buy some precious metals. She made the order. She wanted to do the wire transfer. She had the funds available. They said, yes, ma'am, absolutely. We can give you that wire transfer, no problem. your funds are available, no big deal. They started the process, and the lady throughout the process mentioned that she was going to buy gold and silver. The son said he said it was instantaneously. He said the teller immediately shut down. She went blank, or she, whatever it was, and said, hold on a minute, ma'am. Went and got someone else. They pulled the lady into a second room. They interrogated her, made the son at some point leave the room, and basically denied and said, I will not do this wire transfer for you. Now, you guys, that is her money.
And they still hadn't done it?
Nope, still haven't done it. Now, we're trying to figure out a way around it. I'm working with them right now. We're working on a solution today. I'm not going to mention it right now. Let's see if it works. But you guys, that is her money. That is her funds. And so just remember, and Chris and I have talked about this so many times, and I hope I'm speaking slowly and not too loud because you guys know that's me. But if the money is in the bank, at the end of the day, it's really not yours. That is the sad truth.
It's now your liability and the bank's asset.
Yep.
It really helps me to think about assets and liabilities. Break everything up into that, and it really streamlines how you do business and what you buy and what you want to keep and how you want to move forward. But keep going.
So let's continue to talk about banks a little bit. So a lot of these banks are trying to go cashless. The Australian, right now, they just came out, the 5th biggest bank in Australia right now has come out and said, I think by the end of 2024, they are no longer going to be in cash. Everything is going to be digital. A couple of the other Australian banks have come out and said, okay, no, because there was some panic, I think, about that. And they've said, no, we're still going to do cash. They did say the ATMs would still be open for a few more months, but they are going digital. So you guys, when you see what happens somewhere else, typically you can always come see it happening here at some point. We've already been talking about this, where you've got the Fed now, where it's easier to get your stimulus checks, Social Security, different things like that. As I've had this conversation with my parents also. And then we've also got these banks also, these big banks, and you guys look at JP Morgan, Chase, Bank of America, they are snapping up these smaller banks that are struggling right now. These smaller banks, well, you can go online and look at all the ones that are having issues. PNC just snapped up another one the other day. They're now in the group of where Bank of America, JP Morgan, all those, where they just snapped up another one. So it's going to be, it seems like, a lot of these big banks that are going to, just kind of like when the Federal Reserve started. The Federal Reserve, that's why they started that, is because they had all these other small banks and they didn't like it. And they were taking up over 50% of the market.
Yeah, it's the big 6 banks.
Yep.
There's only going to be a few, and that's who everybody's going to deal with. And eventually you'll have to have some type of mark to do it. It's all heading that direction, and it's digital currency, and they're easing us into this digital ID and all this digital stuff.
Oh, that is becoming a big deal.
And if you think it's hard to get your money out of the bank now, just wait till it's all like that. Whatever that means. We talk about it quite often for actually a couple of years now. But, the banks, why does it matter? Banks, it's just another bank going belly up, because you kind of get numb to it.
You do.
You get numb, like, oh, another bank failed, nothing happened.
Right.
Another bank failed, nothing happened.
Right.
But this is, we're going to look back on this time while these banks are failing, and it's going to be like, oh yeah, do you remember that? Banks started failing. That was like one of the first things. That started happening, it was after the pandemic, a couple of years. That's how we're going to remember it. And they started.
Big banks started snapping up these smaller banks.
Yeah,
yep.
And that started happening, and we're really, if you step back and look at it from a 30,000-foot view, we're heading exactly where we thought. Mm-hmm. And while we're on banks, I just want to mention, thinking back to the Great Depression, I took some notes. And we went from abundance to devastation quickly. Yep. I was listening to Heresy Financial, and he was talking about it, and I got me back into learning about the Great Depression. And what we can take away from it right now, with all these banks failing and stuff, is that's how we got in this mess. Through easy money, low interest rates, pump the bubble up. And then when they can't artificially do that anymore, the bust happens. So it makes businesses malinvestment come up, you know, and these banks can't deal with that. They're not solvent. They're out too much.
Well, we were talking about that. All these commercial loans are coming due. They can't afford them. They won't renew them. You guys, right now, the other day, we just said we hit 33 trillion, right, in debt. Guess what? It's like 200, I forget how much a day. We're about to hit 34. And that was just the other day that we said 33 trillion. We have no debt ceiling. We will never pay off this debt at this point. At what point does it bust? And at what point does that mean for us? It's not to be fear-mongering or scare tactics. It's meant to say, hey, how do you prepare? And so you try to look at history, like you were saying, and you try to say, okay, how can we best prepare? Oh, that's good. You can give us some light.
Yeah, lights from the shop.
Yeah.
We can learn a lot from the banks.
We can.
And if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. But the bust happens. These loans have to be repaid, right?
Yep.
Causing prices to skyrocket and eventually collapse. Wow, is that what's happening? Are prices skyrocketing?
Yep. So deja vu.
And on top of all this, as you think back to the Great Depression and everything that surrounded that, think of Weimar Germany, think of what happened with their hyperinflation, so we can kind of learn from that too. What happened then? You know, massive currency devaluation. Minimum wages, remember they kept going up when money dies the book? And we're now increasing the federal minimum wage. The Republicans say they want to go to $11 an hour. Now there's a whole bunch to know about this. I'm just kind of give you a quick rundown because you need to know. They want to also enforce this E-Verify on illegals. So they have to get verified. There's an 18-month grace period there. Now the Democrats, they want to pay $17 an hour minimum wage. How is that possible? Can you imagine the small businesses that's going to crush? Go back and look at the book. Go back. Times were hard. They were printing money out of style, and they started raising minimum wage. And now we're looking at $17 an hour for minimum wage. How's that going to affect mom and pop companies? What are they going to do?
It's going to be tough. Well, there's already a lot of companies. If you look right now, I think Bank of America said now they're going to $23 for their minimum wage. If you look at all these different companies, I forget the other day, it was the Whataburger. I said they think they were raising their minimum wage. It's all these different companies. And that E-Verify that he's talking about, that is a program that's been in place for a while. It's not really being, from what I understand, we did a video about this here a while back about this E-Verify, but they're apparently going to start enforcing it more of where they want, used to be I think it was voluntary. Now I think it's going to be mandatory. So this E-Verify thing might actually become a little bit of an issue for some employers where they're going to start doing this kind of stuff. And then you've got people now with workers grant, you got work grants, all this kind of stuff. All these people that are coming in illegally, that you're going to have all these work permits that they're giving. They're giving them left and right. You guys, I don't know. It's an interesting time. We're trying to muddle through it and figure out.
Yeah, but we don't have a spirit of fear.
No.
I'm still buying
I'm
equipment.
excited for the future.
I'm still, prepping for whatever.
Yep.
But life doesn't stop. I'm not going to crawl in a hole.
Nope.
And stop. But there's things you can do along the way.
Yes, that's what we're doing.
And that's all you can do.
Yep.
You can rely on God and then do your part too.
Yep.
I don't do the whole, God's in control, and then you go do whatever you want. That's not really the way I roll. But we're heading that direction.
No, you got to get up every day and you got to bust your rear end.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the truth. Get up every day and work and look for side hustles. And Chris and I, we're always looking for ideas. And this guy is the king of ideas. And he comes to me, and I'm trying so hard to come up with ideas. I told him the other day, I said, I'm looking for right now a second source of income on something else that I'm working on. And I came to him and he said, I love it.
The hard part's coming up with ideas that work.
But we're working on it.
Yeah, but you can try and try and try and eventually.
Some of it fails and some of it works.
That's, and the ones that work really pay off.
Yeah, but that's life. But you just don't give up.
Well, going back to the minimum wage, okay, $17 an hour, that Bernie Sanders type minimum wage. This is going to bring more gas to the fire when it comes to the degradation of the economy, the the Great Depression like we're thinking should happen. You put this, what's happening with minimum wage, on the backs of businesses that are this far from not making it, okay? And then you say, hey, little business, what about AI? Would that help you? Because you don't have to pay them a minimum wage. You look at the prices these small businesses are going to have to, or business in general, you know, they're going to have to pay. It's not the free market. It's this communism style government that capitalism usually moves to, you know, and then we have some type of revolt and through history. Well, we're getting closer, but we're not there. We could have, who knows? You know, we could have another year, 2, 10, who knows? I know 10's stretching it, I get it. But I'm just saying, you know, we don't know. We know who's in control and we know what we can do.
And that's what we're trying to do, you guys. That's why we show you sometimes around the property. I'm not always comfortable showing you guys everything because it does kind of put us a little bit on, you know, public out there. But we want you guys to know that we're constantly looking for side hustles. Speaking of which, before we say goodbye or whatever we want to end this video on, you guys, gold and silver prices are down. If you're thinking about purchasing, give me a call, 318-564-5823. And I have a really cool special. So usually it's a Morgan dollar, but the Morgan round I have now that looks like the Morgan dollar, but it's from the mint that makes the buffalo, and it's only $2.75 over. And I've been selling them today. Actually, we just ordered some today because I came out today and it just came out. And I came out to Chris and I said, baby, I want some of these. He said, go get them. So the prices are down, premiums are down, spots down. So if you guys are interested, give us a call. You don't have to call me. You can call someone else. I don't care. But spot prices are down. So if you're thinking about purchasing, this might be a time to jump in. But you guys, we want to be a positive solution. We want to tell you guys what we're doing. Mm-hmm. We want to, I don't know, I want to be positive. I want to bring the best out there.
Me too. I don't desire to make a living selling fear. I'm going to tell people the facts and the way it is, you know, and what we're doing to prepare for exactly what's coming. Yep. And you can relate all this back to what's happened in the past, and you can think through these problems on your own and in the comment section, and it'll help you come up with a solution of what you can do to actually prepare. I'm not talking about a bug out bag. All right? I'm not saying you don't need one, but anyway.
All right.
It's getting late.
Gigi
Stacy's
says
ready to go inside. Yeah. Tomorrow, I'm going to take you around the back side of the pond, or the next day, and we're going to look at what's being cleared, the addition. It's going to be a fish haven. I can't wait to show you. Have an awesome day. Later.